back. So here are some diagrams with perfect linear correlation. So here is a line and here are points. The points are very close. So this is not perfect, but it is moderate linear correlation. This is positive slope. This is negative slope. So this is again, this line is close to the points. This is a moderate linear correlation. Now here is perfect linear correlation. All the points perfectly sit on a line. All the points perfectly sit on a line. This is perfect linear correlation. Positive slope and negative slope. In statistical applications, perfect linear correlation almost never occurs. The variables x and y are said to have positive correlation if low values of x are associated with low values of y, high values of x are associated with high values of y. Figures 4.4 parts A and C show scatter diagrams in which variables are positively correlated. So A and C. So when it's increasing, the points look like they are climbing up, right? That's positive correlation. The points which look like they are falling down from the top on the left, right? That's negative correlation. Okay? If low values of x are associated with high values of y, high values of x are associated with low values of y, the variables are negatively correlated. So here is negative correlation. Low x, so here is a point, for example. Low x, high y. Low x, high y. Low x, high y. Look at that. That's high x, low y. High x, low y. So what's happening? X and y are negatively correlated. The points look like they are falling down. You see, we always read from left to right. So when you look at it from left onwards, it looks like it's falling down. The points are falling down. Same thing here. Now this is a perfect correlation. This is a moderate correlation. Sample correlation coefficient R. So now we want to find out the sample correlation coefficient. Looking at a scatter diagram to see whether a line best describes the relationship between the values of data pairs is useful. We want to look for a line. In fact, whenever you are looking for a relationship between two variables, making a scatter diagram is a good first step. There is a mathematical measurement that describes the strength of the linear association between the two variables. So once you have drawn a scatter diagram, you want to describe or measure how linearly are they coordinated or associated. So you want to measure the strength of linear association. Now this measure is called sample correlation coefficient R. The full name for R is the Pearson product moment correlation coefficient. Pearson product moment correlation coefficient, named in honor of the English statistician Karl Pearson, 1857 to 1936, who is credited with formulating of R. So here is how you want to understand R. Okay, the sample correlation coefficient R is a numerical measurement. So it's a number that assesses the strength of a linear relationship between two variables x and y. R is unitless. That is, unitless means R centimeters or R pounds. These things don't make sense. R has no unit. It is between -1 and 1. In symbols, R is, you see, -1 less equals R, less equals positive 1. If R is 1, the highest, right, there is a perfect positive linear correlation. If R is negative 1, there is a perfect negative linear correlation. So what is perfect correlation? When R is 1 or negative 1. Okay? If R is 0, there is no linear correlation. The closer R is to either 1 or negative 1, the better a line describes the relationship between two variables x and y. Positive values of R imply that your points climb up. As x increases, y increases. Negative values of R implies as x increases, y decreases. That is, points are falling down. The value of R is the same regardless of which variable is the explanatory variable and which is the response variable. That is, instead of xy, you could flip the x and y coordinates, and yet you should get the same coefficient of correlation. All right. The value of R does not change when either variable is converted to different units. So R is unitless, does not care whether x and y, you look at xy or yx. If R is 1 or negative 1, you have perfect correlation, perfect linear correlation. One is positively correlated, negative one is negatively correlated. These are the perfect ones. In between, the closer R is to 1 or negative 1, you have better chance of linear correlation. When R is 0, there is no linear correlation. Okay? Which brings us to development of the formula for R. So how do we calculate this quantity R? So if there is positive correlation between x and y, then the points have to climb up. High values of x are paired with high values of y. That is, if you drew something like this, small values of x should give you small values of y. That is, the points live here. High values of x should relate to high values of y. So points have to live here. So it should look like this. The points look like they are climbing up. In case of negative correlation, high values of x are paired with low values of y. Low values of x are paired with high values of. So you see, the points have to fall down, right? When you are negative linear. That means what? When x is small, y has to be high so that the points live there. Next, when x is high, y has to be low so the points live here. You see, that's how you can detect negative correlation. They do look like they are dropping down. Now, if there is no correlation, there is little or no linear correlation between x and y, then we will have points everywhere. You see, here is low x, low y. Here is high x, high y. Here is low x, high y. Here is high x, low y, and so on. So you have points all which way. Now, these observations lead us to the development of the formula for the sample correlation coefficient R. Taking high to mean above the mean, above the average. We can express the relationships picture by considering the product. X minus x bar. Remember, this is the sample mean for x values. Y minus y bar. Y bar is sample mean for y values. So take x minus x bar, y minus y bar, and multiply them. This you need to do for every x. If both x and y are high, this will be positive, this will be positive, and the product will be positive. Okay? If x and y are both high, positive, positive. If x and y are both low, that is, X is less than average, Y is less than average, then you have negative and negative. Negative times negative is still positive, right? On the other hand, here is the option. X is high, so that's positive. Y is low, so that's negative. Positive times negative, product is negative. Likewise, X is low, that's negative. Y is high, that's positive. So if one of them is negative, the other positive, the result will be negative. So this product is negative for negative correlation. This product is positive if positive correlation. So take the sum of such products. Add products where each factor is x minus x bar, y minus y bar. All right. So what happens? When you add all of these, if the product is negative, then all of this will be negative. The sum will be a complete negative. If each product is positive, then if the sum will be completely positive. So in the case of positive linear correlation, most of the products will be positive, and so the sum will be positive. For negative linear correlation, these products will tend to be negative, so the sum will also be negative. Okay. On the other hand, in the case of little, if any linear correlation, so if some are negative, some are positive, and so on, then some of these will be positive, something else will be negative. When you add them all up, you will get closer to zero. Okay, positive negatives will cancel. Now, you are going to take one trouble with the preceding sum is that it increases or decreases depending on the units of x and y, but you want it to be unitless. So you are going to standardize it. So you divide it by the, what is this? This is called deviation. Standard deviation for x, standard deviation for y, and then take an average 1 over n minus 1. This is your coefficient of correlation. All right. Now computational formula. So this was the theory for coefficient of correlation, but we want to be able to calculate this carefully, right? So this seems to be a lot of work in the sense of you have to find the mean and you have to find the standard deviation, and then you need to calculate all this, add them all up, and then average it. Maybe there is a better approach. Maybe there is a faster approach. This being the theory or the definition, we will come to the computation soon. So we will continue in the next video. Until then.